Hello everyone, welcome to Inconvenient Truths. I'm your host, Jennifer Zeng. Today I will talk about three topics: the major COVID policy changes in China, four major characteristics of China's current outbreaks, and three possible different explanations people are offering for the very different outbreak situations in China. Since I did my last show on December 23rd, there were several major changes in terms of the CCP's policies. The first one is on December 25th, the CCP's National Health Commission announced that it would no longer release any COVID-related information. China's CDC would be the new entity that releases related information and reference and research purposes. The second policy change is that the CCP's National Health Commission changed the name of COVID from novel pneumonia to novel coronavirus infection. The third and most important policy change is the CCP will no longer regard COVID as a so-called Category A infectious disease, which means that the most infectious disease. Instead, COVID will be downgraded to a Category B infectious disease in terms of disease prevention and control. In China, only plagues and cholera are classified as Category A infectious diseases, but COVID was treated as one before this, even though it was classified as a Category B infectious disease. From January 8th on, COVID will be managed as a Category B infectious disease, which means there won't be any mandatory testing or quarantines. The fourth policy change is foreigners or passengers who arrived in China will no longer be subjected to centralized quarantines or mandatory testing. They only need to provide a negative test result within 48 hours before they board their plane. And the CCP will provide visa services for foreigners who want to go to China for work, business, study, family visits, reunions, etc. Chinese citizens will be allowed to travel out of China in an orderly manner too. Why did the CCP's National Health Commission stop releasing COVID-related numbers? Because it is too hard to cover up the real numbers or make up fake ones. For example, on December 23rd, the CCP's National Health Commission announced that there were only 31 confirmed cases in Shandong province in China. But on the same day, Bo Tao, the director of the Health Commission of Qingdao City, announced that there were 490 to 530,000 new infections in his city every day, and the number would increase at a rate of 10% on top of this on the following day. You know, Qingdao City belongs to Shandong province, and there are many other cities in Shandong. If this one city had over 500,000 new infections on December 23rd, how come the entire province only have 31 confirmed cases? Isn't that a joke? So for this reason, the CCP's National Health Commission had to stop issuing official numbers. Now, is China's CDC issuing the true numbers? I just checked. On December 27th, it reported that the total confirmed case number for the entirety of China on December 26 was only 4,436, and only one death case was reported in Sichuan province. Only one death in China. Do you believe that? There are so many videos coming out of China now showing that all the funeral homes are overwhelmed. Let's watch just one video from Anshan City in Liaoning Province in northeast China.
安院是都说不死人，你看这死多少人，全是人，已经停尸房已经装不下了，这是地下车库临时改了，看看多少，看看多少，不是我耸人听闻的，看看。
So this woman who recorded this video saying, "Oh, they all said this virus doesn't kill people. Say how many dead people are, and I'm not exaggerating anything." So you could see from the video that they have actually turned an underground garage into a temporary place to store the bodies. For the third policy change, which involves no longer treating COVID as a severe infectious disease and no longer imposing mandatory testing or quarantines, I only want to say, how about those hundreds of millions of dollars that were invested in building those quarantine camps? Some of them had not been finished yet before they had to be demolished. The fourth policy change involves making it easier for people to travel in or out of China. During the past several years, the CCP had been restricting Chinese people from going out of China. Many people's passports were either revoked or confiscated by the CCP. However, this suddenly changed. Many people in China are saying that they really did get their passports and the process was super smooth and easy. Now, many people are very suspicious about this policy change. The outbreaks are so severe in China right now, and the CCP suddenly opened the border again. What is the intention? People naturally asked. We all remember that in 2020, 5 million people left Wuhan before this city was locked down. And the people, including former US President Trump and White House trade advisor Peter Navarro, all questioned why the CCP restricted domestic travel to and from Wuhan while allowing international travel out of the city to continue. So for some people, the sudden relaxation of travel restrictions does look suspicious. At least it is very irresponsible. Right now, there are 4 major characteristics of the current tsunami of outbreaks in China. The number 1 is the explosive rapid spread. According to the study of Fangwei, host of Fangwei Time, the infection speed in China is 9 times faster than that in the US and 90 times faster than in India. Another strange thing is, it seems that the infection did not spread from one center to other places, but occurred simultaneously in many different places. Also, from what has been shared on social media, many people who live in deep mountains, who never go out, and who had been staying negative for the past 3 years, suddenly became positive out of nowhere. The number 2 feature is the high rate of severe symptoms. Many of them even have so-called white lungs. This is a post by a Chinese doctor and the lung images he or she shared. This doctor said that out of 182 people who had a CT scan, only less than 10 people's imaging was normal. This is the CT imaging of a patient who is only 30 plus years old. And this is a post by another Chinese doctor. Actually, He is the Deputy Chief Physician of Department of Respiratory Medicine, the first affiliated hospital of Anhui Medical University. The post says, I saw 60 patients this morning. Almost all of them were COVID positive. 80% of them had different degrees of pneumonia, and most of them had viral pneumonia features, judging from imaging. This is the result of a survey conducted by the CDC of Jiaxing City in Zhejiang province of China. It says that CT examinations revealed 1.2% of the infected have imaging changes, which means they have pneumonia. 15.87% have no symptoms, and 84.13% have symptoms. I didn't know how trustworthy this result is or how many samples were taken for this survey, but I think the result should be more reliable than what the CCP's National Health Commission has been telling us. So it says that 84.13% of the infected have symptoms. The number 3 feature is the large number of death cases. Actually, I was wrong when I said that those quarantine camps that were used to lock people up were useless now, because some of them have found a new function. Let's watch a video. Well, this is a quarantine camp in Shenyang City, Liaoning Province in northeast China. This camp was turned into a mortuary by Huilonggang Crematory. In one of our previous shows, we showed this image. This is actually a body refrigerator status sheet of no other than Huilonggang Crematory. The sheet says all refrigerators are full, and this picture was taken before December 15th. So now the same crematory is using a huge quarantine camp to store the bodies. And the number 4 feature is many CCP's high-ranking officials, celebrities, or their families have also died. This is a long but still incomplete list of celebrities in Chinese art and cultural circles who died recently, and I composed this list based on the report of the Chinese version of Epoch Times. Celebrities' deaths are more difficult to hide, as their workplaces or families usually publish the news of their deaths to show respect or pay tribute. Some also say that half of the CCP's officials above the ministerial level in Beijing have been infected. This post says that my friend, who is the wife of Yang Zaibao, said she has been so sad and angry the past few years. Xie Fang's husband, Zhang Mu, Ge You's mother, and Zhao Qing died one by one recently, and their families just couldn't find a place to cremate them, and they were worried to death. It is my friend who finally used her connections to get these few elderly people cremated at Jiunongshan Cemetery. When these people were alive, they might have never thought that when they died, their families wouldn't even be able to find a place to cremate or bury them. This post has drawn a lot of public attention. Why? Because the several people mentioned in the post are all very, very famous in China. I know all of them too. This is Yang Zaibao's page on Baidu. He was a very famous actor and played a lot of important lead roles in a lot of Chinese movies. This is a page for Xie Fang. She is a very famous actress in China and has won a lot of lifetime awards. This is the page of Xie Fang's husband, Zhang Mu, who died several days ago on December 25th. He was the head of opera troupe of the Chinese Opera and Dance Theater and once played the CCP leader Mao Zedong. This is the page of Zhao Qing, who died on December 24th. She was a very famous dancer and the vice chairwoman of China's Dancers Association. I watched the dance drama Lotus Lamp, in which she played a leading role. When I was a child, she was called Ambassador of Dance for New China and a pillar actress. Her father was famous actor Zhao Dan, who played the lead role in quite a few CCP's propaganda movies. And this actor is Ge Yu. He's very, very, very famous in China now and has won a lot of rewards. So these are the level of the people mentioned in the post we just saw a while ago. And these people are either having problems getting their families' bodies cremated or have just died during this wave of outbreaks. You know, celebrities and high-ranking officials usually have much better social resources, and even if they are having such problems, how about ordinary Chinese? How about those poor farmers in rural areas? Such intense deaths of celebrities and high-ranking CCP officials have never happened before, so it is very clear that we are experiencing something unprecedented. Now, the problem is, why is the outbreak so different in China? Before I discuss this, I'd like to respond to some comments first. When I share what is happening in China, sometimes I get comments from people basically asking me to stop spreading these frightening images or videos. They either say Omicron doesn't behave this way or that I'm spreading the CCP's propaganda to scare the world again. Well, what do I say? I do admit that for the past 3 years, many people have had enough of all this, and the outbreaks were used by some politicians to achieve their political agendas, and the CCP is covering up the case and death numbers in China. And some other countries have exaggerated the numbers out of political agenda. That's very unfortunate. But the problem is whether we like it or not, facts are facts. If what I'm sharing are not facts, anyone has the right to ask me to shut up. But we cannot stop sharing the facts only because the facts don't fit in with what we know already, or we cannot offer an explanation about the reasons behind the facts. Facts are facts. We establish the facts first, then we try to figure out the reasons. So again, why are the outbreaks so different in China? People are offering many different explanations. The first one is that many Chinese people's immunities are very weak after 3 years of lockdowns. The Chinese vaccines are not working. The viruses that are spreading in China could be new mutations, or all the different strains are spreading together, etc. The second theory is that the CCP has been purposely spreading the virus. Some even say that they saw planes spraying a white color material from the sky and then they tested positive. Some say they tested their water and the result was positive. And why would the CCP purposely spread the virus if that is true? There are also two different explanations. One is that Xi Jinping wants to get rid of the old population to save social welfare expenses. Another is that the CCP wants to create another corner so that it can again overtake the West. I don't know whether you've heard about the Chinese term 弯道超车. The CCP talks about it a lot. It is a technique used in car racing. See this picture? Car B was initially behind car A, but was able to overtake car A at the corner. So for CCP, as it knows that it is behind the West in many areas, it always talks about corner overtaking or overtaking on a corner, which means they take advantage of a situation to surpass the West. If they don't have the corner, they may create one. During the first 2 years of the pandemic, the CCP had always been talking about how the CCP had done best in terms of pandemic control. They were so happy that so many people died in other countries and kept celebrating it. Then, after Omicron hit, many countries took the chance to achieve herd immunity and reopen their economy. In the meantime, the CCP was damaging its own economy and torturing its own people with its inhumane lockdown orders. In the end, the outbreak went out of control anyway. Now, many Chinese people have realized instead of being the number one in the world in pandemic prevention and control, China is number one at the bottom. So at this stage, do you think the CCP has the motivation to create another corner so that they can surpass the West again? The third explanation is that heaven is eliminating or destroying the CCP. 天灭中共 is the Chinese term for it. This slogan has become a very popular and widespread one during Hong Kong people's protests against the CCP in 2019. Falun Gong practitioners have been promoting this concept and persuading Chinese people to withdraw from the CCP and its related organizations for many years too. Well, actually, when Omicron first hit, I shared the idea that the Chinese pronunciation for Omicron is 我灭共, which means I eliminate the CCP. Does anybody still remember that? So some people say, well, Omicron is like a natural vaccine for people in other countries. It will do something different, very different in the CCP-ruled China. From the fact that so many CCP members and officials have died recently, maybe this theory does have some merit too. Well, that's all for today. Thank you very much for watching. I know how important true information is at this critical moment. So please keep on supporting me by liking, sharing my content, subscribing to my channel, or going to my website at jenniferzengblog.com. That's jenniferzengblog.com to sign up for a membership or make a donation. Thank you so much. See you next time.